When I first saw the Undertale Yellow trailer, I was initially skeptical. See, whenever an Undertale fan game releases, it's usually the result of the fandom going, "Oh, I love this character, I'm gonna make them infinitely worse because I don't know anything about character writing." Or it's something like, "Ah yes, insanely hard boss fight with random bullshit flying everywhere is good game design." It seems like every Undertale fan game has some sort of antithesis to Undertale's message of healthy ways of interacting with art and realizing that something you love can't last forever.
Like, name one AU version of Sans that's good.
That's right, you can't, because Sans is already a really funny character, and insanely well written at that. And the fandom just gets too stuck on sans if this, sans if that they lose of sight of who he really is, an intelligently designed and beautifully well written character. And don't even get me started on Chara. Funny how a character meant to represent the player/fan of a game is the character most bastardized by the fandom. But when I saw the trailer for Undertale Yellow, I surprisingly didn't cringe. No Chara, new enemies, no reference to Sans or Gaster. The animation in the trailer showed the love and dedication put into it. And the music. It's just amazing. So, unlike most Undertale projects where I don't interact with them for very long, I actually decided to play this one, spoiler free. And let me tell you, I regret nothing. Seriously, this is your last chance to go play the game before I spoil everything for you. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So go play the game. Played it? Okay, because this game is good. I'm not gonna lie and say this game is better than Undertale, but I can think of a few reasons why Undertale Yellow is better than, like, I don't know, every other fan game I can think of. And one of those reasons is how it respects Undertale. Most importantly, it respects Undertale's characters. So much, in fact, that the only Undertale character that has more than, like, 5 lines of dialogue is Flowey, and they have his personality down to a T. All the other characters in Undertale Yellow are original characters, but not only that, they're good characters. Not only do they have their own good personalities and backstories, but the game also makes sure that you like the characters and grow attached to them the same way Undertale does. A lot of fan games will, if they make their own OC, just plop them in the story without making you like them, and then be confused when the player doesn't care because they don't have any emotional attachment to them. Heck, getting you to like characters isn't a rule Undertale put in place. That's just a rule of storytelling, so why do so many people miss it? Side note here, I'm not saying Undertale Yellow doesn't do any of these things. Some characters act contradictory to their personalities or do a stupid thing, but overall, they do a very good job. Getting back to how it respects Undertale overall, it also respects it by not talking about Undertale's themes. Undertale's theme is basically dissecting the RPG genre down to its goddamn atoms by repeatedly subverting your expectations. But every point Undertale makes, Undertale Yellow doesn't just try to do the same thing, but worse. Instead, Undertale Yellow focuses on its theme, the theme of justice. In both Undertale Yellow's main ending, in the neutral ending, Flowey just resets, it's not really an ending. Justice is shown in 2 different ways. I'm going to cover each one separately because they're so different. In the pacifist ending, Clover doesn't kill any monsters, instead choosing to make friends with them. Of course, because this game has an allergic reaction to using any Undertale content. All the monsters you save are original, and the more plot important ones are generally nice and really well written. As you get to know the monsters increasingly, something starts building up in Clover. And when you finally do get to the end of the game, stopping someone from using your soul, Clover steps back, and some feeling boils over. As thoughts rush by Clover's head, thinking back to all the injustices monster kind has faced, all of the death, all the sadness, this feeling. A feeling of justice takes over Clover as they give up their soul for monster kind. When I first saw this ending, I was admittedly a bit mad. I would have just done what Marlet suggested and stayed home with her until this all blew over. But then it hit me. This was Clover's decision to sacrifice themselves for the justice of monster kind. And as the credits roll by and the characters say their final goodbyes to Clover, Clover feels something in their soul, a call for help. And of course, it's answered. This ending is so amazing because not only does it play into the Undertale lore, making it actually not an AU, it is also such a powerful moment when you lose all control, and out of sheer justice for monster kind, Clover sacrifices themselves to monster kind. It's also perfect because it's the perfect setup for Undertale Yellow's is amazing. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be saying is amazing, but the sense of justice felt in the ending, especially at the end, is probably the most intense emotional part of the entire game. Which is crazy because the pacifist ending was already so emotional. Clover's reasons for justice is simple. Getting revenge for those 5 humans killed by Asgore. As Clover keeps going on through the underground, killing everything in their path, and as they do, you grow more and more accustomed to the idea of doing this for the fallen humans because it's better than the alternative. I am doing this just because I am a bad person. After mostly smoothly killing every single monster you could possibly see, you finally fight Axis, the robot guarding Steamworks. As Clover is fighting Axis, just really trying to get them out of the way, Axis mentions something. Out of pure justice, Clover proceeds to gain 7 levels of violence and shoot a goddamn laser beam out of their soul. At this point in the game, I was like, well, this game is peaked. This moment is the best in the whole game. Then the fight with Marlet comes up, and it speaks for itself. Dying over and over again, until finally, after way too many attempts, you beat her. Clover snaps again as Clover starts to try and attack Flowey. Flowey tries to reset, but it doesn't work. Again, and again, but just failed. This causes Flowey to go insane. Remember, until this point, Flowey has had all the power, and simply states as Clover shoots him to bits. This is right before Undertale, so Clover's fate should be sealed, and the game doesn't let this go yet. Clover's justice has overridden Flowey's determination, and he stomps all the way to Asgore, and Asgore says the same thing. But then, Clover is so filled with justice that they literally break the Undertale canon, killing Flowey and Asgore and freeing all of the human souls. I was going to make some big conclusion about how all this ties into determination, but it would all end up sounding too much like a college essay. So instead I leave you with this. If you watch this video before playing Undertale Yellow, even though I specifically told you not to, it's still worth your play even with spoilers.